Hello guys, welcome to MJ Real Stories channel. Today's story is one of the most emotional, heart-shaking, and unforgettable moments ever witnessed on a concert stage. It is a moment that shows us not just the greatest entertainer the world has ever seen, but the gentle human being beneath the spotlight, a man whose empathy could stop a stadium, whose kindness could pick up a stranger who had completely fallen apart. This is the story titled "He Broke Down Crying on Stage." Michael Jackson held him until he stood again. And today, I'm going to take you through every second of that powerful moment, the truth behind it, and why millions of fans still talk about it to this day. The story begins during one of Michael Jackson's major world tours, when stadiums were packed with fans from every culture, every generation, and every corner of the world. People came not just to watch a show. They came for healing, inspiration, escape, connection. For many fans, Michael wasn't just a singer, he was a lifeline. His music carried the emotional weight of people who felt unseen, unheard, or misunderstood. And on this particular night, what happened proved exactly that. As the concert went on, Michael performed hit after hit, moving from explosive dance routines to emotional ballads. The energy in the stadium was electric. People screaming, singing, crying, and living inside the music. But somewhere near the barricades, one fan was struggling to hold himself together. He was already overwhelmed by the moment, but something deeper was going on inside him. Later, people would say that he had recently lost a family member and came to the concert hoping Michael's music would give him strength. Others said he had been battling depression and saw Michael as his last ray of hope. Whether these details were true or not, one thing was clear: the young man was breaking down emotionally. When the opening notes of "Heal the World" began, the stadium softened. The lights dimmed into a warm glow, and for a moment it felt like the entire world was suspended in silence. Michael walked to the center of the stage, holding the microphone gently, his voice touching every heart with the calm softness only he could create. And then, in the middle of the crowd, the young fan finally couldn't contain his emotions. He burst into tears, loud, shaking, uncontrollable tears that made the security around him look concerned. People around him stared, surprised, some even alarmed. But what happened next turned this emotional collapse into one of the most iconic, human, and unforgettable moments in Michael Jackson's concert history. The fan pushed forward, calling Michael's name through his crying. Security held him back at first. They had seen this before, but the boy wasn't just emotional, he was collapsing. His legs buckled, his hands trembled, and he looked like someone whose heart had simply given out under the weight of everything inside him. Normally, security teams would escort someone back when things got too intense. But this time was different. Michael saw the fan from the stage. In the middle of his performance, Michael paused. His eyes softened. He walked slowly toward the edge of the stage, raising his hand slightly, a small gesture telling security to let the fan through. The guards hesitated for a moment, but Michael nodded firmly. And just like that, the young man was lifted onto the stage. The fan couldn't even stand. He collapsed to his knees the moment his feet touched the stage, sobbing with his hands over his face. The entire stadium went silent. Tens of thousands of people watched, shocked, moved, unsure of what would happen next. But Michael knew exactly what to do. Instead of stepping back, instead of letting security take over, instead of treating this like a disruption, he walked straight toward the fan and knelt beside him. Gently, carefully, Michael placed his hand on the fan's shoulder. Then he wrapped his arms around him. The fan fell into Michael's chest, crying so hard that his entire body shook. Michael held him like a father holds a hurting child, like a brother comforting a broken brother, like a friend who understands everything without a single word. The crowd began to cry too. You could see people wiping their eyes, hugging each other, whispering, "Oh my God," because they had never seen a superstar do something so intimate, so compassionate, so human, right in the middle of a show. Michael didn't rush him. He didn't push him away. He stayed there holding him, gently rubbing his back, whispering something that only the fan could hear. Some fans close to the stage said Michael kept saying, "You're okay. I'm here. You're okay." The fan's sobbing slowly softened, his breathing steadied, his shaking eased. Michael didn't let go until he felt the fan could sit up again. When the boy finally lifted his head, tears were still streaming down his face, but his eyes had a look of relief, as if someone had lifted the heavy weight he had been carrying for months, maybe years. Michael then helped him to his feet. Not security, not assistance. Michael himself held the fan's hands and gently lifted him. The fan could barely stand at first. His legs felt weak. His emotions drained him completely. So Michael held his arm around him and slowly supported him until he could stand on his own. The music had been stopped. The concert was paused. The world was watching. But Michael didn't care to him. This boy mattered more than the schedule, more than the performance, more than the camera. For Michael, this was the real purpose of his music: to touch souls, to heal hearts, to be there for someone who needed him at that exact moment. When the fan finally stood straight, Michael looked into his eyes, wiped one of his tears with his thumb, and gave him a small smile. A smile filled with understanding and love. The stadium exploded into applause. Not for the song, not for the show, but for this moment of pure humanity between the world's biggest superstar and a fan who just needed someone to hold him when he could no longer hold himself. Security eventually came to guide the fan backstage so he could recover. But before they took him away, Michael pulled him into one last hug, tight, warm, sincere, and the boy held on like he never wanted to let go. After he walked off stage, Michael stood quietly for a moment, taking in everything that had just happened, before he began singing again, but this time with a voice full of even more emotion than before. People who attended that concert said that from that moment onward, the show felt different, almost spiritual. It was as if that emotional connection had created a bond between Michael and the audience that could never be forgotten. Michael didn't just perform that night. He healed someone. And in doing so, he reminded the entire world of something we all forget sometimes. Behind the lights, the fame, the music, he was a human being with a heart bigger than any stage he ever stood on. Years later, fans still talk about this moment. They share clips, memories, and stories, each person adding their own emotional connection to what they witnessed. Some say the fan later wrote letters saying Michael saved his life, that he had been going through severe depression, and that being held by the man whose music had carried him through the darkest days gave him a new sense of purpose. Others said Michael asked his team to look after the fan backstage and make sure he was okay before leaving the venue. What makes this moment unforgettable isn't just the fan breaking down. It's how Michael responded. Most celebrities would have stepped back. Most stars would have let security handle it. Most performers would have kept the show moving, but Michael Jackson wasn't most performers. He treated his fans like family. He felt their pain. He carried their emotions with him. He believed that music wasn't just entertainment. It was healing. And that night, he proved it in the most powerful way. Even today, when fans rewatch this moment, many of them cry, because they see themselves in that fan. All of us at some point break down. All of us at some point need someone to hold us. All of us at some point hope for a moment of understanding in our weakest hour. And the fact that Michael recognized that in the middle of a massive concert, shows what kind of heart he carried inside him. This moment stands as one of the clearest examples of Michael's pure love for humanity. A reminder that behind the legend was a man who carried so much compassion that he could stop a stadium to comfort a stranger. A reminder that fame didn't make him forget kindness. A reminder that no matter how loud the world got, he never stopped listening to the quiet cry of someone who needed help. And that is why this moment is remembered not as a disruption, but as a blessing. A rare, real human moment in the middle of a world that often forgets to slow down. A moment that shows us exactly who Michael Jackson truly was, not just the king of pop, but the king of empathy, kindness, and compassion.